Hello, welcome to another Daily Digest video. I'm Merriam. Today I am playing a little bit of Standard, breaking it up with an interesting looking aggressive deck I found. This is a sort of Boros tokens aggro deck, very similar to actually old style Ramunap Red. It got a lot of on-crop crashers, but replaces some of the cheaper aggressive creatures with things like a Donto Vanguard, which is great, Legion's Landing, Cartouche Solidarity, and then Servo Exhibition, and as a result gets to play Trial of Solidarity, which is also sweet with Cartouche. This hand does not have red mana, and one of the issues of the deck, I think, is going to be its mana base, but even without red mana, we have a very strong aggressive curve, and if you can find red mana, we can back it up with a Hazoret. So I think this is going to be a keep. Also on the play, which is great. And hopefully we can get some beatdowns on. Main phase, sure. Cast a Legion's Landing. So hopefully we'll get to transform that on turn 4. I guess if we draw perfectly, we can do it on turn 3. If we draw a red mana and a haste creature in our 2 draws, but did not do that. Still fine. I also like how lifelink from Legion's Landing token helps us pay life for a Donto Vanguard. So that's cool. Evolving Wilds. Not sure what this means. Is this like the Esper Godfarer's Gift deck? I think that might be the only deck that plays Evolving Wilds. They have a nice island. It's one of the Euro islands. So that's, I guess, their deck is super serial. So I drew a 3rd land, which means the question is, do I play the Cartouche? And I don't really want to into a bunch of open mana. I guess I can play this first, and if they counter it, if there's some sort of control deck, play Counterspell, then I'm open to play Cartouche, but I don't want to play it into... I guess actually, I'll just play it on the Vanguard, won't I? I can just pay life. They have to have a bounce spell. Yeah, this is better anyway. Do they have a bounce? Oh no, Cycling Fetid Pools. Okay. Ooh, thought they might have a bounce spell. Well, now I get to get in for 5, so that's pretty cool. And we have a bunch of indestructible damage going on here, which should be a big game. Yeah, just the 2 Vanguards is a 2-turn clock here. Ooh, is that good? Right on time for Hazoret. Just keep making them answer more and more stuff. Oh, cycling it. Okay. Our opponent, it looks like blue-black control, but yeah, there is no way they are winning this game. Drew very well there with 3rd land and then Mountain right on time with an excellent curve where we double spelled, so Hazoret attacks on turn 4. And they're dead. Glorious end. I feel like that's for approach decks. And we're not playing against an approach deck. We probably want some sort of removal spell. What do we even want it for, though? I know the blue-white control decks play... they have the cat. What does blue-black have? Is it just you know, the thing, Torrential Gearhulk? I haven't seen blue-black control in so long. Scarab God, okay. Well, if we want to kill Scarab God, which we probably want to, Ixalan's Binding is the card. Ugh. Yeah, I guess I'll just bring in 3 bindings. They're not as good against Torrential Gearhulk, but Gearhulk also isn't great against us. I guess I can cut... Am I supposed to cut On-Crop Crasher? I think so. Weakest creature. Its exert ability doesn't really come up. Let's run it like this. I might decide to cut some lightning strikes for game 3. But I like having a little bit of reach. Give them something to think about. Our opponent's playing a 61 card deck too. Tisk tisk. Don't play 61 cards, kids. Okay. Are they thinking about drawing first? Because I would enjoy that. Well, you have great mana in this hand because of Inspiring Vantage. Have a 1-drop. We have these 2 trials without other creatures, but so much of the rest of our deck is creatures. I think I'm going to keep. If we can just draw a 2-drop. Oh, well, speak of the devil. There's a 2-drop. Got our Legion's Landing again. Maybe I can just start calling the top card of my deck every time. Let's draw a Pia Nalar. Ah, okay, close enough. I'll accept. See if they have a removal spell this time. Or a Censor. Essence Scatter. Well, this is going to make our trials kind of weak. Might play one here just to empty my hand for this Hazoret, but then if my Hazoret gets countered, I've sort of wasted it. Ooh, Servo Exhibition. That one's fine, and that will actually help me flip Legion's Landing, get a 4th land for Hazoret if I want it. And very good with Trial. That was a good draw. Take another one, please. This card that no one ever counters. They're probably going to counter it now. Ooh, no. Okay. Cycling something. Cycling effect pools. Still no plays on their turn. I don't think I want to jam the Hazoret right now because they have a bunch of counter mana up and Vraska's Contempt. I think I want to force them to either counter this Superfluous Trial or use a removal spell on one of these crappy creatures. And if they let me attack and flip the landing, then I can play Lightning Strike on their end step too. Empty my hand for this Hazoret. Okay, well, they didn't have a counter spell, so that is already putting us in good shape. Definitely want to use the removal spell pre-combat. Looks like they are. And they Vraska's Contempt a token. That is excellent. Now we get in for 6. Yeah, a quick Scarab God is... Oh! Well, that was excellent. Now I can just Binding that. Otherwise, that Scarab God was going to be a problem. They could bring back a Kenra, maybe start racing. I'd have a Hazoret, but if they have another Contempt, I'd be in really rough shape. But now without the Scarab God, I feel great. Got these servos that they're going to have to reckon with. They can't cast another copy of the Scarab God. These control matchups for the aggro decks tend to be quite good. And you're seeing a pretty clear example why. I get out underneath them as long as you can answer their one big stabilizing threat. I'm sure I was lucky to draw the removal spell on the right turn, but I mean, I have 3 bindings. They probably have 2 or 3 Scarab Gods, so now we'll keep making them answer our threats. Hopefully not have time to deploy any sorts of card advantage. Ooh. Does this mean we're seeing a sweeper of some kind? Surprised to see that resolve. Okay, they have Bontu's Last Reckoning. That's pretty good. Do I jam that now? I'm kind of in rough shape. I'm just so light on threats. Do I jam the Hazoret here? They can't have Contempt immediately, but I also can't attack. I have to draw a land to be able to even attack next turn. Yeah, I think this is the best turn to get it out there, though. I do have the Essence Scatter. No bueno. Good news is they are light on lands. And now I get to double spell. Light on spells, I mean, they have lots of lands. I'll keep this one. Get a token. And play Kenra. Wish I could have flipped that first one. Get another land here. I've got now 2 Kenras between the battlefield and my graveyard. Getting to 6 mana will be pretty good. Search for Ascanta is a nice one. They're on 5 cards in graveyard, so it'll take a little bit of effort. So if they play spell this turn, then really no effort at all. And I'm going to get this trial down. This trial will put them in strike range, but oh man, they do have another contempt on the Kenra is nice. So they go up to 10. This attack will bring them to 7. I do have 5 points of burn. Do I want to blow this lightning strike now while they're tapped down? I kind of want to. Even it does give them information about what's going on, but getting this countered is going to be really bad. And it's not that hard for them to put that read on me. The contempt does also let them flip this search. Looks like, yeah. Wisely put a Disallay on their graveyard, seeing as they're sort of behind on board. But this search might be just enough. Ooh. Well, I don't mind if I do. If they don't have a removal spell here, that'll put them into range for the ruins. I imagine they'll be using the Ascanta right now, because if they want to play a removal spell, they should do it on the courier and do it before the trigger. See if they can find a removal spell in their top 4. Yeah, they found a Fatal Push. Oh, they're just going to do the trigger on the stack so they get a card out of my library, sure. That's fine. And you're now 1 short. The land here is still a fine draw, though, as long as it's on Inspiring Vantage, because that'll create a threat with this Kenra in my graveyard. Yeah, they flooded a bit, and it looks like we're got a good shot of just barely squeaking this one out. Okay, there's a land, which is probably my best draw here. Unless it's, or another Ramunap Ruins is probably the best draw, but or a Shefet Dunes, any desert. Okay. They found Bantu's Last Reckoning. That is not going to do it. I think this game will end right now. If they have a removal spell as their other last card, then it'll end next turn. Another Contempt? No! Oh no! Well, wow. Now we are officially very far behind. Although, fortunately, Bantu's Last Reckoning is awkward with Ascanta. Oh man, why? 3 Contempts, barely keeping them alive. Still only a desert shy of ending this game. Or another Lightning Strike. Oh wow, Hieroglyphic Illumination is a very good draw. No, not Field of Ruin! Oh no! It's all going apart. Now we are very far behind. Oh jeez. So they have a Reckoning and an Unknown in hand. Wow. Really good sequence of draws from my opponent here. Granted, their early draws were not great. Is it playing the Pia that was bad into Reckoning? Do they normally have Reckonings in their sideboard? Yeah, I guess a couple. Find a Glimmer of Genius there. So they have Glimmer of Reckoning, and wow! Their Illumination was Field of Ruin Fatal Push. Ugh. I cannot imagine being further behind. Now they can start finding counter spells. Ugh. 4, 7, 10, 11, 12 lands. Your deck is probably all gas. Oh no. Oh no. And they just found the 4th Contempt. Okay, well, I imagine this will get Reckoning to next turn. Well, I guess they'll see what they draw first, but we are very far behind now. It's going to take a really good string of draws to get this one. They did bottom on those scries, so that's at least something. And they have not found a way to end the game. Oh, into another Illumination. Yeah, so far ahead on cards now. 6 cards in hand. Ugh. No Reckoning and Contempt. You know, I might probably win this game if I don't play the Pia. Maybe I'm supposed to play the Hazoret that turn. Shefet Dunes, eh? Do I sacrifice it? I think I do. If I get them to Contempt a Servo, that seems really good. But they probably just have a Gear Hulk here. And I can't really beat a Gear Hulk, so I gotta try to end this game quickly and hope the top of their deck wasn't good. So it's cross your fingers time. And we'll bluff the Abrade in case they get super scared. They do blow the Contempt, so if they take this 2, that'll leave them still at 4. And the Contempt is gone, making Hazoret a potential excellent draw. Although they're going to be looking at a bunch of cards with Ascanta here. Okay, I guess that's smart to look. We probably should have looked at it first, right? Okay, find another search. That's not that big of a deal. It's another way for them to dig. Cycle of Pools. So we know they have Search, Bantu's Last Reckoning. Okay. Well, we've gotten the Contempt out of their hand. That is a start. As long as they just don't find Torrential Gear Hulk anytime soon, we might be able to draw out of this. Ugh, not with these mountains, though. Draw on 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lands. And a reasonable ratio. Okay, find a Glimmer here. If we can get this attack through, then Lightning Strike is a potential game-winning draw. But seems like it's going to be hard to get this one through. They even have 6 mana here untapped for a Torrential Gear Hulk. They did bottom, though. Oh, why did my... Oh, I hit 2. Okay, that'll do it. I meant to play a land there, but I hit F2 instead of F1. Not a big deal. Metallurgic Summonings. Did not expect that one, but that will probably be enough. Interesting. See if I can get them to tap low. Okay, go to 2. You got to expect they have a counter spell here, but I'm gonna strike in response to an Esconta activation. I don't really see the point of letting that resolve. Can I steal this one? Nope. Immediately go to pay costs. Yeah, there's a disallow. This summoning is gonna end the game real fast. What do they just find there? Another disallow? Ugh. I think that's about all she wrote. You know, they don't even care about blocking it 2 life. It's a sure sign that their hand is quite good. But and we'll soldier on valiantly. Yeah, there's a Gear Hulk. This will probably be a contempt just to gain the life and get a 4/4. Oh no, Glimmer. Okay. Also reasonable. Also gets a 4/4. This is 12 damage. Yeah, I'm not going to keep playing this one. Oh man, we were so close there. All those contempts. I still don't think that means I want Rampaging Frostodon. Nor do I really want a Braid. Binding is good against summonings as well as Scarab God, so I think that'll stay in. Yeah, I think I like the way I have it. Yeah, playing the Pia into a sweeper was probably the one thing I could do differently. Or just playing the Hazoret that turn, forcing them to sequence differently. So if I can just get in a couple more points, that would have been good enough. Yes, I would like to play first. This hand is excellent. We have landing on 1 again, can Exhibition on 2, Kenra plus Cartouche on 3, that attacks for 6, so yeah. Keeping this one. Might not Cartouche just to save it for a trial or not play it into a removal spell, but regardless, this is a very strong opening curve. Can flip the Legion's Landing pretty quickly too. Opponent keeps as well. See if they're mad that we have turn 1 Legion's Landing all 3 games. Bomat Courier might just be better. But another land is not really what we wanted. Gonna have plenty of lands between landing and then what we had. Hazoret is what we want. Or Trial. Either way, get in for 1. See what our opponent has on turn 2. They do have a blue source, so they can have Censor or Essence Scatter here. Let's play the Kenra. So they don't counter that. I'm not going to play the Cartouche. Might be getting Bantu's Last Reckoning here, which would be a tilt. And transform this land. That is transforming it is excellent though. We have this source of creatures, even if they do have a sweeper. Okay, they just cycle, so not a great start from our opponent. They have the Reckoning. Indeed they do. Well, it's not great. Ooh, Adonto Vanguard. You don't say. So I can't play Adonto Vanguard and activate Adonto. I think I'll just get the spells out of my hand. Especially because the Vanguard is good against most removal spells, except for Contempt, I guess. Let's Cartouche it up too. Make sure that resolves. They're not untapping this turn, so the Vanguard will definitely get in at least 1 attack. Ooh, into Shefet Dunes. You don't say. I'm liking this game so far. We'll attack for 5 here. Be able to make another token on end step. and hopefully end this game with the Ramunap Ruins. 4 damage from that. We can play in a way where we're at least guaranteed 2, even if they have the Ghost Quarter Land Field of Ruin. And if they don't Field of Ruin Adonto, they might just lose to that. Okay, Scarab God would have been pretty good there. Although I guess I get to Chef at Dunes to make the Vanguard big enough. No play. I think this is going to be a Vraska's Contempt. Ooh. Well, I guess now it's time to make them play it on something. I'm tapping this way so that if they Field of Ruin my Adonto while I'm tapped out, I have the option of activating Hazoret. Okay, they have Essence Scatter. That's fine. That means I'm getting in another attack with this Adonto Vanguard. This puts them to 3, so they're in range of this Ramunap Ruins. It's in my hand. Consign. Jeez. Well, this was worst case scenario. Was not expecting Consign. But I do get to at least replay this. If they dream me, they're dead, so I don't have to worry about getting the ruins in play. I don't want it to get Field of Ruined. I also just don't want them to know I have it. Cycle Sensor, that's good. Still nothing. So is this the Contempt turn? Ooh, well, that seems good. Let's play that one. See if they have a counterspell. If they have a counterspell, they're not going to be able to deal with the Adonto Vanguard. Let's have another bounce spell. Dissolve bounce spell. Which wouldn't even be that good. They'd be pretty low on resources at that point, still taking an attack for 2. But no, the trial resolves, and this might be the last turn. I guess one more turn, second to last turn. They do have the Contempt. So, can't do anything about that. They go up to 9, go down to 3. Do I play the Ramunap Ruins so that I can activate Adonto? I think I do. Worst case scenario, they have like Second Reckoning plus Field of Ruin, but then I still just make a 1/1 on end step, get them to 2, and like I just keep pressuring them with Adonto. So I'm gonna play it. I've got them on a lot of different levels. They've already used a Reckoning. Okay, no Field of Ruin. I don't really see how they... I guess another Contempt, and they survive the turn, but then blowing a bunch of Contempts on tokens I'm making for free is not really a way to win the game. It's just a way to not lose. Oh, now I have a Lightning Strike too. Oddly, don't have enough to activate Ruins and Lightning Strike, but I don't think that matters. This is a Torrential Gear Hulk? Sure. That's actually pretty good, but the Lightning Strike will end it. I guess I should have thought about that. That's actually really good. They go to 5. They'd still end up being at 4 and being in Ramunap Ruins range. They'd have to have another... they'd have to have another way to deal with it, a Field of Ruin, another source of life gain. But let's just attempt to win the game, shall we? And that is it. Whew. A close game 2 there after demolishing them in game 1. And that game 3 was probably a little bit closer than it looked. I mean, if that last card was a brick and they had another source of life gain or a Field of Ruin, well, it could have happened just like it happened in game 2, where they just barely stabilize. And they had the Gear Hulk then. Granted, I also had Adonto, so I think flipping Legion's Landing was really a death knell. Really hard to stabilize against that card if you let your life get low early, which they don't really have a choice in doing, given how our decks are structured. But That's sort of the reason the blue-black deck fell out of favor. It was okay. It was fine against Teamer, but it was just wasn't good enough against Teamer to justify how weak it was against almost everything else, especially the aggressive decks. Even with Fatal Push and Vraska's Contempt. You know that and the way the red white deck in particular is built with a lot of threats that require sweepers with P a lot of the token makers that can generate value against spot removal. I think you're in really good shape. I like what the red white deck is doing. A little bit of synergy that maybe people aren't expecting. I think being able to see the board of tokens is going to be good against other aggressive decks as long as you can deal with Ferocidon, hence the large number of lightning strikes and abrades. So I imagine Ferocidon is definitely a problem. You have to prioritize answering that card. But if you do that, you have some life gain, you have a lot of creatures, and you have the same Azurites that they do, and you actually have answers to Azurite in Ixalan's Binding. So cool little deck. Hope you enjoyed watching it, and you can come back and see me on I'm not sure if this is going up Monday or Wednesday, so Wednesday or Friday, depending upon which day it is. But bye. Said bye.